Welcome back. Fourth quarter sports and business. I am your host, Marcus Tuggle, and I've decided to keep it consistent this time. Today I've had the pleasure and opportunity to speak with the Miss Joyea here, a great friend of mine, a great person, period. Very excited to speak with you about everything you've been doing. Been doing a lot of studying, and I'm excited, man. So how you doing?
I'm doing good. I don't know how I should feel right now, but I'm excited to be
Girl,
here.
you should feel good. You should feel good.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, no problem, no problem. I think it's needed just because of what you do, and not only just within being an athlete, but just what you're doing today. And I'm gonna make sure that we, for sure, cover a lot of that. I don't want to just sit here and talk sports because I feel like you've outgrown that. So I don't want to just have that be the conversation. And I say that in a great way. It's not many people that can take what you've done and keep it going. Most people have to go through, little roller coaster rides and things like that. So first and foremost, I do want to start with high school basketball. I think you made a huge impact on a lot of people in the city. I think you've motivated a lot of other young girls today, period, just to be able to keep consistent in the game. I've definitely reached out to some coaches of yours and, some peers of yours. And I've just never, just my whole life knowing you, I've never heard nobody say nothing bad about you. And I think that stands a lot for who you are. So I definitely want to say that. But, so we started out at Southeast, correct, in the high school? Or
Yeah,
was it Heights?
so I went to Northeast Magnet,
Okay.
but I played Southeast my freshman year. Yes.
Got you. Okay. So what did you like about Southeast? What was,
Uh,
or was Southeast just the focus
so
that you had at first?
Southeast was my base school at the time, but I remember coming into the gym my freshman year, being nervous, and just Coach Randall, she was the coach there at the time. She really gravitated towards me. She pulled me over to the side before the trial started. While I was just on the side shooting. She was like, "What grade are you in?" And I told her, and she was like, "Okay." But it was just one of those "Okay, you noticed me." And so I really enjoyed my freshman year. I got to play with some great players, Jamila Bonner, Arian Tipton, Brittany Maxwell was on that team, Jerica Montgomery.
Oh, man,
Wow,
that was
yeah.
loaded.
Yeah, we had some big, we
Y'all
were
was
big.
loaded.
And the crazy thing is, y'all might see me now, and I'm 5'10". I was 5'4". I was point guard in middle school. I was short. I did not grow until my junior year, going to my senior year, and then I grew a
Okay.
couple more inches in college. So I was.
Yeah, I definitely didn't know that, Joyea.
Yeah. So I was
Short.
5'4"
Okay.
ish in my freshman year. Yeah.
So when you at Southeast, that roster sound crazy though.
Yeah.
How does that roster not work?
I don't. For me, it was just new. It was high school. I was a
Young
freshman. I
age.
was new. All of them were older, so they were
Okay.
more established. They had, I think, I can't remember her last name, but it's Ashley. She played for Southeast. She left there the year before. Kiana Jennings was there the
Okay.
year before, and so they were kind of just really well established. And they took me in, and I was grateful to be able to be a starter on varsity, but it was just nerve wracking. But everybody was
pressure?
but they were family. It was real family, and Coach Randall didn't play that either. So.
And then you go over to Heights and you just become a different Joyea, I feel.
Well, you know what? I only went to Heights my senior year. So if you didn't know, my freshman year I played for Southeast.
Okay.
My sophomore year I went to Independent. Yeah.
No, I didn't know that one.
Yeah, I went to Independent.
Google ain't even got that one.
Yeah, I went. That's the year I should. So I went to Independent. So I played there with Imani Finner and Diamond Maples under Coach Rhonda.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and Coach Willie, he was at Heights now. I think he's still at Heights. But yeah, I played my sophomore year there, and then I came back to Northeast, and I played Southeast my junior year, and then my senior year. I went
So
to
you
Heights.
was hitting the portal early.
Yeah, I was.
You was hitting that portal early.
Man, I got a taste of each level.
But I think that I don't know what it was, but I feel like that Heights kind of brought out you more.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's just becoming older and growing in the game.
Yeah, I would say I would contribute to my AA team. During the summers, I was playing with elite athletes. I played for the Missouri Valley Blazers. They were out of Kansas City.
Gotcha.
And so we did a lot of traveling. So I had Brooks, she went to Arkansas. I had played with I can't think of her last name, but Tiana, she ended up going to Missouri State. But I got exposed to a different level of
So it
basketball
seems
during
like
the summer.
every level you've always played with some elite players.
Yes, and so it challenged me, and so I feel like my senior year at Heights, I don't know, I just came in with one of those like this is all or nothing. Like you want to play Division I basketball, you gotta. And I had a great squad, and these were girls I played with when I was kids.
Oh, okay.
So my senior year, like Katie Palmer and Jada Lynch and all them, I played with them when I was younger kids. Michaela Harding. And so it was just a little more comfortable in that setting.
So basically, you just been like that. That's really what you're saying, is you just been like that.
No, I just been playing basketball for a long time.
Yeah, you've been like that. It's all good. Ain't nothing wrong with that. So then, you're at Heights. You have a lot of success at Heights. I don't know if this is correct, but I read 50-0.
Yeah, so I was only part of the 25-0. So the year before when Jasmine Bowen and them won it, that they counted that record from that previous year.
Gotcha.
And then so they combined it. But so
So
we were undefeated. Yeah, 50. I contributed to 25 of it.
That is wild. Yeah, I didn't know that one.
Yeah.
When I read that, I said, "Damn, did they really go 50-0?"
Yeah, because Wichita was not playing 50 games.
No, that's what I was wondering. I'm like, but no, that's dope, Joyea. That's real dope, especially having that as a high school accomplishment, and everybody knowing how you was in high school. You was really a name in high school, just period. Especially around the city, it was real heavy. So I think that was real dope to see you do that, and seeing the young girls these days kind of look at you as that player still. You know what I mean? I think that's real dope. Before I jump too far away, why don't you still like coach or anything?
I get that question like daily.
Yeah, me and Vince was talking about it. So
yeah, everybody keeps. You know what? I'm going to say I'm not too far removed, so I'm very still passionate about the game. And it's taken me some time to adjust how much the game has changed since I've played. Yeah. People taking it serious and just, it's a change of the culture. And so for me, and with me having young kids, I feel like I have to kind of switch off, not my passion, or kind of turn it over to like, because I still kind of want to play. Like if there was a women's league here, sign me up. And so I think once I kind of cut that off, maybe my coaching side would.
Gotcha. So you're still hungry, is
yeah,
what you're saying. Okay. Hey, I ain't mad at you. I think that helps. I think that helps.
With me having little kids, just really just being home more, because it's dedication. I mean, it's a sacrifice being a coach. You got to give up a lot of time. You got to do a lot of stuff. And right now, I don't think with like I said, with me still wanting to play and still.
It's not right for you.
Not right now.
Okay, I got you.
Yeah.
And the only reason I asked that is, I reached over to Vincent. You know what I mean, Williams. One of the great guys in the city who speaks highly of you, loves you, definitely loves you. And I know that's one guy that would be supportive of anything you do, just from the conversation we've had. And I asked him for feedback on you, and man, he was like that. He said, "What? This ain't nothing." He said, "Yeah,
anybody
man."
knows me, it's him.
Yeah,
when it comes to basketball.
So I'm gonna give Vince his shine right now, and give him his flowers, because man, that's he trains my daughter right now. So that's one guy I think that just don't get that credit in Wichita, and but he's also a guy that's not gonna.
He's not. Yeah, he's not looking for the attention.
He's for the game, and for the kids. So I think that's dope. But okay, so we jumped from high school and on to UT. You go to UT right out, right?
Yeah. At that time, it was Texas Pan American. It's Rio Grande Valley now. They switched the name.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so you was there for what, semester or a year?
My freshman year.
Freshman year. How'd you like that?
I enjoyed it. I had it was fun. It was a beautiful campus. I enjoyed the travel side. Just the next step in just being able, and I feel like I got a lot of floor time as a freshman, so I enjoyed that part. And
gotcha.
So, yeah.
Okay, so what was the adjustment, coming from high school basketball, being the big dog, did you feel like you was going to college, kind of having to minimize yourself a little bit just to learn the game or just to adjust, or was that any struggle for you, or was that just an easier thing to jump on for you because you played with elite players already?
Yeah, it was one of those kind of learning as I go. Like for me, after my freshman year, I learned the change of speed. Like I was one of those people. I was never making it to overtime because Joyea's fouling out. And most of them are like offensive fouls. I was just aggressive, and I got that from Vince. You know, I was the only girl training with boys.
Oh, okay.
And so I just knew he was like, if you don't hear that whistle, and so it was playing. And so you can still be, and I had to learn you can still play aggressive, but you have to play control because if you're one of our starters and you're one of our higher scorers, we need you to make it to the fourth quarter.
Yeah. So did that end up being a problem later on?
No, I got it. I definitely got it because I want to be in the game.
I got you.
But yeah, and so it was just one of those things, those adjustments. I mean, even like conditioning was one of those big adjustments. The schedule, just like the daily schedule, and I'm used to sacrificing my time for basketball, you know, with travel and high school, but it's a different one. It's like, okay, well, during Thanksgiving, you're not able to, you know, go home and eat with your family, or Christmas. And so it's just like one of those things. But, yeah.
Okay. So we at UT. You do a year there, and then you go to Indiana State.
Uh-huh.
What made you hit the portal again?
Well, okay, so
Joyea,
I had a
hold up. So I know we got kids hitting the portal right now. You've been hitting the portal since freshman year.
Oh Lord, no, it wasn't like that. I had to do my time.
Okay.
I had to do a red shirt year. They don't have to do all that.
Okay,
now,
so
but.
we at Indiana State. What brings you?
And I had to do my. I had to wait when I was at Independent too. I had to sit out like the first half of the games. You know, when you had
rules was different.
Yeah,
back then. You're right. So we're going from UT to Indiana State. What made you make that transition, and what made you pick Indiana State?
So what happened? I had a good year at Pan American or UT. I was newcomer of the year, second team all conference, and so towards the end, basically my coaches that recruited me, they got let go.
Gotcha.
And so it was one of those things like. I'm loving it here. But I don't know how the next coach.
Yeah, you don't
know. And so
I
was kind of told, like, you know, you have an option. You had a great year. You're all right. People, you know. And so I would say I kind of used the UT year like my junior college, like a junior college kind of type of thing. And so, so I was going through that process while I was still taking after the season ended. And I had a couple of schools looking at me. And so when it came to Indiana State, I went on an official visit. So I just went out there like, you know, I'm just going to go on a visit. Honestly, it wasn't really like, okay, this is my top of my list. I considered it because, so Wichita State wanted me.
Oh.
My mama told me, don't you come back home. Ain't nothing here for. And so it was.
Man, we done all heard that one. Whatever you do, don't have to come.
Yeah. So when Indiana State reached out to me, I was like, they're in the same conference. So I can still go home. They can still see me play, you know, because we played Wichita State without me having to be at Wichita State. And so when I went on the campus, I'm not going to lie, I was like, okay, it's going to be Indiana. You're not thinking you're going to see people that look like me.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, when on that visit, I didn't see not one person outside of the coach.
What?
And I was like, what is Indiana State? And so, going there, it's a lot of people from Indy, Chicago. It's a state school. Everybody goes there. And so it was just like, and it was it was like different from UT because down there it was a lot of Hispanics and stuff like that because it was deep down in Texas, like kind of close to the border. Where some places you go, their first language is Spanish, and so it was like language barriers with school and stuff like that. But when I went to Indiana on that visit, I was like, okay, I can get with this. Yeah.
We got her. Y'all don't even worry about it.
Yeah, and so my person that actually kind of took me around, she's actually one of my best friends today, and so we're still close. But yeah, And so I was like, okay, well, I'm in Missouri Valley, which is a great conference. You had Drake, Creighton had just left out of that conference.
Okay.
And so you had Wichita State. So for me, I was like, okay, this is a great conference. I can come back home and, my people, and so that's what made me.
Man, that's crazy because, normally when people go off to college, they ain't worried about if the people from the crib going to see them. They ain't trying to go back home. You was still But, no, that's great to show that you was still worried about, your people at home wanting to see you play, especially at that high of a level.
Yeah.
I think what you were doing at that time was, setting the path for the ladies behind you today, to be honest with you. Because even today, if you ask the younger girls, they'll say Joyea, the Jamilas, and, the Jasmines and things like that. So I think what you guys have done in Wichita women's basketball, period, doesn't get enough love, I feel. That's just me being honest.
Yeah.
But that's why I wanted you on here, because I feel like you are one of those ladies that not only in basketball just have, a great a great walk right now that women definitely love to look at. Because when I posted that you were going to be on the show, I thought I was about to get hit with the basketball. Everybody hits me up like, you got to talk to her about the breastfeeding. I was like, what? They was like, you got to. They was like, you just have to. We get it. You about to talk sports, but you have to bring it up. And even my kid's mom, she said, yeah, she said, I don't know what you're talking about, but you have to bring it up. She said, if you don't, I'm not even watching. I said, all right, y'all, chill out. And so I of course, I want to spend more time on basketball, but to be honest, I don't. Because I'm so into what you're doing today, and I think it's just great for what you're doing, especially me being a dad, you know what I mean? And as a dad, we, breastfeeding, we think we understand, we think we know, really don't, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We just know based off of the current situation, what we're told. So I definitely want to get into that, but I want to ask you at least one more basketball question before we jump in. It's more about what today's game going for women's basketball, and I'm pretty sure you're loving what women's basketball is doing today.
Yeah.
I think that would be crazy if you was in today's game. I think that would be way crazy. I mean, you was already hitting the portal early, and I mean, you probably would have stole some NIL deals up real quick.
That's I was like, man, I wish I could have got paid.
That would have been perfect for you right there. But I'm gonna just cut the basketball off right there. And the reason I want you to speak up more on this, because I don't want to say nothing that's not said right or not done right. I'm most definitely interested in to what you're doing, and I want you to kind of let the people know a little bit more about what you started and how you've been having such success at it. Like you just said, you just got back from California. You know what I mean? They asked you to come out there and talk. And like I told you, man, they usually hit people on Zoom when they want them to talk. They'll put them up on the screen, for them to want you out there. And, even the Wichita Business Journal, seeing them have your picture there, that would used to be one dream of mine. Oh, I want to be in the Journal. I'd probably hit the Journal up probably 20 times. Hey, man, what I got to do to, you know what I mean? Whatever. So when I seen you do that, I was like, wow, that is dope. So, I just kind of want you to tell everybody what exactly it is that you're doing.
Okay. So I'm a program coordinator for the Kansas Breastfeeding Coalition. Around 2020, I got reached out. Sapphire, she's the executive director for the Kansas Birth Justice Society now, reached out to me and was like, hey, Kansas Breastfeeding Coalition is kind of looking for someone to run a breastfeeding coalition in Wichita, but specifically for Black women. And she was like, I think you would be great. She's like, and because she doesn't identify as fully Black, she's like, I think you would be great, and so I'm going to put you in this meeting and kind of see how it goes. And so at that time, I didn't have a healthcare degree. I was just a mother that had a passion to help women because I had a great experience, and I want women in Wichita to have it.
Okay.
Because I had my son in Dayton, Ohio, and so it was one of those things. I got exposed to it. I didn't know, but I had the support out there. And so when I came back home, they were like, how do you, where do you go to? I'm like, nobody's helping y'all. But I had to realize it was two different experiences. I was in a whole different state that pushed that. And then we come back to Wichita, you're like, nobody's talking about it at all. And it's just like, this is a problem.
yeah, most definitely.
And so, they kind of told them, like, what I do, what I'm passionate about, and kind of about my journey and how I want to help women. And they Since then, they brought me on to do. I've been doing it, like I said, since 2020. And then eventually they hired me on as a program coordinator to manage some of their other programs that they do.
Wow.
So basically helping women of color become lactation support providers, because there's a gap of people in the health field that have like the letters behind their name
Gotcha.
compared to, white women and black women. And so they're trying to fill that gap to get more black women like me who just had a passion, aren't nurses, aren't just mothers who have a passion to help people to be able to be certified and be able to do that if that's something that they want to do. And so, God has been putting me in rooms. If you ask me how, I don't know. You
said it right. You said it best. The best thing you can do is just, hey, God put me in this position. You know what I mean? Because it's a lot of things that sometimes you find yourself. I'm pretty sure when they offered you the opportunity, you was probably like, "Why me?" Or things like that. But I think they put you in. They put the perfect person there. Because I think even us guys, we don't know it, but if we see Joyea posting it, we finna take a look at it. We can be like, "Oh, okay. Oh, so
what you talking about?"
Yeah. So that's like, it even raised my eyebrows. I even started reading about it 3-4 days ago. I was like, I know what she do, but I don't know what she do. Mm-hmm. So then when I kind of read in more to it, and then I see why the Journal posted, I see why you out in California, then I'm like, wow, this. And then if you just look at the statistics of it from the country, you like, wow, I can see where. Yeah. This is a huge issue.
Definitely.
And again, I think it's not only something that women should know about. I think it's something that us men probably should know about, because the health and the issues that women deal with when y'all go through that whole body exchange of, coming through pregnancies and things like that. So it's definitely something that I really wanted you to speak about. But even more into that, so when you're in this position to where, you have women reaching out to you, and I know you've been hosting a couple events and things like that. When do you think is a perfect time for a woman to actually start, that process of thinking of the breastfeeding and things like that? Because, you got your 9 months that you go through and things like that, and you guys' body go through so much that, again, us men don't understand, and sometimes we just get the negative side of it. Hey, get away. You know what I mean? I've been there, understood it.
Yeah.
But it's just, the breastfeeding part, I think that's something that us men definitely should look more into. Yeah. But when do you think a woman should start, even deciding that factor or researching that when they're going through, when they find out they're pregnant? Like, how do they?
Yeah, I feel like it's a thing where pregnant woman, you should utilize that 9 months to learn. And I'm not saying you're going to have it all together, but if you're reading about it, you're getting support. When something happens, once you're doing it, you're not blindsided. You're like, what is this? And like, oh, I read about this. Yeah. Or I think I understand, or just using that 9 months to gain your support, knowing where to go, finding your resources, reading about it, because it's a journey. I mean, I've had 3 kids, and all 3 of them were 3 different breastfeeding experiences. Gotcha. So it's not all the same. So while my first one was very successful, my second one was I didn't go as long as I wanted to. My third one, I was pumping more than, and so it's just like, just really understanding. And so we encourage, that's what we do at the coalition. We try to push it and support for pregnant women. Pregnant women are targets because we want to help them before, give them the support before, so they feel confident enough when they walk in the hospital and they're like, well, do you want to breastfeed or do you want formula? I want to breastfeed. And even if they're struggling, they're fighting because they know, like, hey, this is something I want to do. This is something I plan to do, because black women are not even being asked. They're just telling them they're giving them formula. Yeah. But if you don't know, you don't know how to advocate for yourself because you don't have any understanding of, well, I think I want to, and then you don't, And so I feel like gaining knowledge while you're pregnant, it helps you be a better advocate. And then also your support person, I think is really important for men to, go to doctor's appointments, be advocates, listen, because once they're giving birth and all that stuff, they're in a very vulnerable state. And if you've ever been in a labor and delivery room, there's so much going on, right after they have the baby, they're coming and checking, they're asking, they're having you sign papers, they're doing it.
Yeah,
And
so much going on.
it's
Yeah.
so much going on. And so I feel like, and it doesn't even have to be the baby's father, anybody that you feel like, comfortable with being in there, have them be there from while you're pregnant and kind of go through the support classes or go to the, the appointments. That way, when they're in that situation with you, they're not, they know how to better advocate for you,
I think that's powerful because, I can say this because I'm speaking from experience on this. I've definitely been guilty of, missing an appointment, you know what I mean? Because I think that, I come to the next one, or, I'm going to miss this one and come to the next one. So I think that's something that a lot of men need to hear.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Get your ass to the appointment.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because one thing you don't want a woman to do is feel like you're not there during that moment.
And then for Black women, it's a life or death situation. Black
and
women
that's what I was about to say next. So what is that gap between, because I know, like you said, there's not much Black women that have that support, and it's a huge gap between the Black and the white women on breastfeeding. What is that gap, and why do you think that gap is so huge? Is it based on just us probably just not being educated on it, or?
I feel like it's a factor of things. Like I tell people always, it stems back to slavery days. It's a traumatic, and how we know trauma is passed through genetics and generations. And so, you had slave women being wet nurses for white babies and having to starve their own babies, and so it just it was traumatic. You had to sit there and let your baby die, but you had to breastfeed
another one.
Your slave owner's baby.
Wow.
And so I feel like what happened was there was a generation where they kind of disowned it. That was our culture, though. Breastfeeding was we Black women breastfed this nation, basically.
Yeah.
And so I think we kind of disowned it for a generation. And then when formula came out, it was like, if you breastfeed, you're poor. You got to have fun. That was their agenda back then. It was like formulas for rich people and breastfeeding is for poor people. And so with us, it's a propaganda for that. And so that's, we had that generation of, well, I'm not poor. Like, I don't really want to, and this is more accessible. I'm going to formula feed. And so what happened was we got a generation that didn't breastfeed. They formula. So they don't know how to pass down breastfeeding to the next generation.
Yeah.
So one generation of it, and then you don't have nothing to pass on because they don't know how to breastfeed. And so that's kind of where.
Wow, you are educating the show today. This is wild. That's definitely something I've never even thought of, especially back in the slavery days.
Yeah.
Of women having to breastfeed that's definitely nothing I would have even thought of right there.
Yeah.
That is crazy because how far that can go back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it's a lot of things. I mean, I feel like also with maternal leave and paternal leave, it's only it takes 9 months for you to grow a baby, but you only have 6 weeks to recover.
Yeah,
it don't make sense. The math is not math. And so it's just like stuff like that. And some women can't afford to take off. They have to, and so it's just little things like that. So for them, they're not worrying about breastfeeding or they worry about, I got to get back to work.
Yeah.
So I got to do what's more convenient for me. And that's why you see a lot of states like California that have higher breastfeeding rates because they have in the other countries, they 12 years, not 12 years, but 12 months a year, and they have that support. So it's just one of those systematic things. And then it's also, how do we get back there? Which, one, being represented. When you see breastfeeding, you don't think of a Black woman, right?
No.
And
because most women I've seen out just in public breastfeeding is usually white women.
And so that's the stigma that we had to break. And so, they feel misrepresented when it comes to breastfeeding, uneducated, and then unsupported. And so those are the three things that
I can definitely say that. I know some women from just listening to them feel uncomfortable, don't feel as confident, and probably hasn't had like you said, the right support around them to where they feel like they can breastfeed anywhere they go. But then also, so when you first jumped into this director position, I'm pretty sure you dealt with a lot of, I wouldn't say backlash, but just people that probably wasn't willing to understand and learn it the way that they probably are today. So it's probably a little bit harder for you to jump on at first, correct?
Yes.
Because I'm pretty sure a lot of women are, oh, girl, I'll go get some Similac.
And then my thing was, for me, when at that moment, I didn't have no letters behind my name. I wasn't a program coordinator. I wasn't the coalition leader.
Yeah.
I mean, when they're like, you don't know, I'm going to go talk to my doctor. I'm going to And so that was one of the struggles of not having the experience or the, because you're really basically fighting with the medical world, like the doctors and stuff.
Do you think that competitive spirit came from basketball?
Oh, yeah.
Most definitely.
Yeah. I think, it's just one of those things. And I wanted to piggyback off what you said about how, like, people not really willing. So that's kind of where I step back. I'll help people when they, reach out to me. But we have so many resources now that have grown within the last year where people are wanting to do that one-on-one support. I would say after COVID and the formula shortage, I got burnt out. I got burnt out with trying to explain and it's always this fight in the lactation world. Breast is best, formula. And it just, and it got a lot. And so I realized, I was like, you know what? I can still help from I can do the advocacy part. I can come up with these programs, these campaigns and help. And then, use my resources, people that actually like to, that is what they're calling us to help them one-on-one support. And so, so it does get a lot. Because you want something for somebody.
Exactly. I was just about to say, I can feel like sometime you were probably in a position where you wanted it for somebody so bad, but they just wouldn't understand. And then another thing I could think that you're probably running into is just, some people want to hear it from Joyea. They don't want to hear it from another party or somebody else because they feel more comfortable hearing it from a woman of the same from the same culture and things like that. Yeah. So I think that's one. But another thing is, have you had women from other cultures and races come out to you and wanting to get your advice still, even though you're mostly trying to teach our culture, but I know there's still women, because I've got women reach out to me that wanted to hear this conversation, and that was the main reason why I wanted to take over the show with this conversation, because it's a different curve for me. It's a learning experience, and I'm enjoying it. So how do you feel about just other women, in general, that will want to reach out to you and speak about it?
I mean, I'm never going to turn down anybody and help them. I mean, it's breastfeeding. We all want, the goal is we want healthy babies, we want healthy moms, we want healthy birthing outcomes. So the thing is, though, I had to get over the fact that when I do these, breastfeeding events, and I'm like, how do I put on here that is just for Black moms, that is just for, because it's like, you don't want to seem, but then when I realized, like, that's what I'm supposed to do, because people already have their inclusive groups, they have their support.
Yeah, most definitely.
And it's just like, they need the support. Like, we're, Black women are the ones with the lower race, are the ones that are having these outcomes. Like, this is something that needs to be, this is priority over, whatever. And so, but I'm always willing to help. And so like I said, being in it for a couple of years, I have a handful of resources. It doesn't matter who you are. Like, I can deter you this way, I can deter you this way, or I know how to,
So when you took your trip out to Cali and, you were speaking, how does that feel, going out there to speak about something so heavy like that? Especially you said, you've been doing it since 2020. And I'm pretty sure that was probably a different experience for you, because you're so used to traveling for games, traveling for just basketball, or just any other thing. And then, now you're getting asked to come out here and speak with this group about this. Like, that's, I was about to say, how do you feel about that?
Speaking, I tell people, they always like, well, you're able to play all these games in front of thousands of people. I'm like, that's different.
And that's where I was just about to take it.
Different.
That's
different. I absolutely am a nerve wrack when it comes to speaking. Before, I want to say just last year, I used to be like insecure. I'm like, I'm in this room full of medical professionals and doctors, and I'm just like this girl from Wichita that's just doing community projects. And so it's just like, but God reaffirmed me, like, I sent you there for a reason. Yeah. And so after I speak, people you have, and they're like, I'm inspired by you. And you're just like, huh? Like, I'm just doing what, I used to minimize what I did or do because for me it was just
Yeah.
passion. It was like, you know, like
I just talked to breastfeeding girls.
throwing events is easy. You know, it comes natural to me. And I always remember Kyle Ellison. He told me it's not easy. He said, stop downplaying your gifts. It's not easy for everybody. It's easy to you because that's your gift, but everybody doesn't have that. And so when he told me that, I was like, okay, you know.
So you have to increase your capacity to receive.
Yeah.
I learned that Maurice Evans told me that. You know, I used to always downplay anything I ever did. Oh, yeah, hey, man, stop doing that.
Yeah.
And, you know, I think it takes for people like that to get you to understand what you're really doing and show how big of an impact that you really have.
And I didn't realize. I want to say literally, I had to really step back like, wow, people know who I am. Not just, you know, and it's so funny because the worlds are so different, like the basketball world. And so when people are like, oh, what's the fun fact about you? Like on this side, I'm like, I played Division I basketball. Like, and then it's just like, I don't look like a basketball player. They're like,
but Joyea, I'm gonna tell you that it just doesn't match.
Yeah.
It's not a normal match. Like even when I was speaking before you came, I was like, this girl played basketball, and then usually took a whole different trip.
Yeah.
And the success ladder just keeps going up. Yeah. You know, that's not normal for people to do, especially